There was 8 people in a 2-bedroom motel in Atlanta. The thing that used to drive me 5 in the morning was my sister just had a kid at 15. Pops was a legend in the streets. That well went dry, so
the family's drowned.
It was personal.
Only us from the ghetto can understand. How important was it for you to go pro?
You know, everything that you carry, 5 a.m. workout, carrying bags on your back before the sun comes up, throwing up, doing all of that. Everything goes into this one day. I'm looking at this moment like, my name don't get called. Who am I? What I got?
When they left your show, were they intentionally trying to tank I Am Athlete?
The way it happened, I do believe I'm only having this conversation because of you. I know what you gonna be. I don't even want to say Black Joe Rogan because I feel like I put you in a box. What I offer, I thought was more than fair. Whatever you put in, you get out. It doesn't make sense for you to put in $25,000 and get 25%. I was investing $150,000 every 2 weeks.
You offered him 4%. What does he get out of that? What do you think is fair? I asked him in 10 years, will we see IAA and Pivot doing something together? Do you think so?
First generation millionaires, money's supposed to flow down, but our money flow up. So what is that doing to us? This is crazy. If I lose it all, I'm okay. I didn't had it all.
Well, you have to have the experience to be on the podcast. We go from actors, rappers, entrepreneurs, scholars, athletes. Today, we got a legend, not only in media, but in the NFL. We got Brandon Marshall. How's it going, my brother?
What's up, champ? I'm
you know
good,
the vibrations, man. You know you my people.
Family.
For sure. You know, I was telling a couple of people, man, you were one of the first people that I really got some game from. You know what I mean? When I pulled down on you, I remember being a puppy. You know, I pulled down on you like, bro, I love what you're doing. I just want to shadow you for a second.
Right.
And you embraced that.
Right.
That was so important.
Yeah.
So important. I think people out there need to know that there are black men in position that welcome us as we on our journeys. You know what I'm saying? And I want to thank you for that.
Yeah, no, that's love, man. I mean, it's twofold for me. One, you know, I'm just farther along the journey, right? So there's people I'm looking up to and I'm trying to get knowledge from.
Right.
So I'm in the same position. So whenever someone's looking at me saying, yo, can I shadow you? Can you help me? Can you open up the doors for me? You know, I think about me being in that same position, asking, you know, a Steve Stout.
Right.
Yo, like I would love to shadow you. It's the same language.
Right.
Right. So how can I say no, you know what I'm saying, and expect a yes?
But you'll be surprised. You'll be surprised, right? Because in this industry, especially with the way that some people like to paint your character, right? You wouldn't expect for someone that come from my background, because I'm big homie for real, right? So when I reach out, you would think that there'll be a wall there, especially if you just go off of what's being said. But I want to clarify, right? Not only for my listeners, but for the young creator, that there are black men in position that will embrace you.
That's right.
And don't listen to them saying, yo, he don't want to mess with nobody. He won't do this or he won't do that. Right. Because there are people who you would think are far gone that'll say, nah, I see you and I see what you're doing. Come on, hurry up before they shut the door.
Right.
You know?
And there's phases to it, man. And just like I said, you can't expect a yes if you telling somebody no. So the perfect picture should be, who are you following? Are you learning from? But also, who are you pouring into?
Yes, Lord.
Like if you doing that, then you're gonna keep growing. And you can't get discouraged when you reach out to people, right? Like it took me, 3 years to get Steve Stout to even see the DM.
And you are who you are.
Right. And I played in New York.
That's
I've been in his office before. And it's okay. Why? Because Steve Stout is building a $1 billion business. His second $1 billion business, I feel like, or third.
Yeah, he's on his third or fourth lap.
You know what I'm saying? So, like, you got to be patient.
Yes.
Like my first interview, Rick Ross, it took me 7 months to get Rick Ross to say yes, because he's busy. So don't take it as disrespect. Just take it as like, man, they're in a different realm.
Exactly.
Right? So sometimes it takes time, and sometimes before you can even get to a Steve Stout or a Rick Ross, you may need to go, at that second tier.
Right.
Someone who
to tap into their attention.
Yeah, maybe you can't get to the billionaire yet.
Yes, Lord.
Let's go to the millionaire.
Yes, Lord.
He got a little bit more time.
Yes, Lord.
Right? His team is a little bit more small.
Yes.
Whoa, hold on. I go by Loon. All of my interviews with everyone that you love. It's available on patreon.com. It's up there podcast ad-free, as well as the show with just me, where I talk directly to the culture. Plenty more perks. I see you there. Let's get back to the show.
This good game right here. And I tell you what Steve Harvey said. He will be amazed. He will come out and people will say to him, some random guy, right? He gave a whole scenario. Man, I ran into a guy. Just give you this quick story. I ran into a guy told me, hey, Steve, get with me. I'm the next big thing.
Right.
And that language doesn't resonate, right? So he's speaking to Steve, and Steve's like, what do you mean you the next big thing? He's like, can I get 15 minutes of your time? I promise it'll change your life. Steve is like, I'm already me, bro. Right? Respectfully to your passion, respectfully to your position.
Right.
But I'm me already. So the language we have to communicate in is very different than that, right? So he comes and says something like that, and Steve's like, yo, I don't have time right now, man, but keep pushing, try to give him some words. The little dude say, oh, so you don't want to make 20, 30, 40,000 extra a day.
Right.
You don't want to see another 20 million. And Steve told him, hey, you made 20 million yet? This be the problem, right? Expectations, manage expectations.
There you go.
Right? And he comes and says, you want to make an extra 20 million while he don't got 20,000.
Wow.
And he thinks that language translates, but if he could have got to Steve Harvey's manager, to Steve Harvey's assistant, to Steve Harvey's wardrobe person with a great idea, a great mindset and passion behind that, he could have put himself in position to be alley-oop to a Steve Harvey.
Right.
But just that going straight to him like that was just...
The language is so important, bro. It takes me back to Kevin Hart, the Super Bowl every February. So we're in L.A. past Super Bowl, and we're at Sirius XM. Now, what I'm trying to build, this path that I'm on, is similar to Kevin Hart.
Yes. He killing it, too.
I mean, production and what he's doing, unbelievable.
Yes.
So, boom, we're at
More
Sirius.
importantly, relationship, too.
Yeah, I mean, he got reach.
Yes.
So we're at Sirius XM's headquarters, this huge event. Everybody's there, CEOs, SXM. You got, all these legends. I mean, it's a whole thing. We did this interview, and then as soon as we got off the interview, I walked up to him, and I'm getting back to the language, and I'm like, yo, I know this is a big ask, but I need a mentor. Will you consider mentoring me? If I can get an hour of your time to show you what I'm building, and if this is something that aligns with what you believe in,
your expertise, or
and you have the time,
will
you consider mentoring me?
Yes.
I said, can I get your assistant's number? He took my phone and said, my assistant's number, here, you take my number. And it goes back to the language. I could have went up, because I got 20 million.
Right.
I made my 20 million. I got 20,000. I got all of that. What
right.
You just
can
said.
talk like that.
I could have came up to him.
You want to make another 20 million, Hart?
Yeah, no.
You need to be tapping into sports, Kevin Hart.
Yeah, right.
You could have went like that. He would have been like,
who was this?
I know Floyd. Like, I know
right.
Jay. I know
right.
I can
like,
reach that.
You?
Yeah. Even though you are you, respectfully.
Your little football money.
See what I'm
I make that in one movie.
Yeah, but respectfully.
But the language is so important. It's humility. Fat Joe said something critical, man. Like, he's a boss.
Right.
Like you said, he's a big homie.
For sure.
He said the problem with some of us, we don't know when to play second.
Ooh, that's powerful.
You know what I'm saying? And you got to be able to, like, even me and Pac-Man on our show.
Yeah.
Like, yeah, I started this, but there's some rooms we go into together now, and I'm like, oh, you lead.
Yes.
Oh, you won. You the dog.
Yes.
And then when we get in certain rooms, he'll look at me and be like, B, you got it.
And you know what? You always, to me, before I met you, and we're not gonna rush into the I Am Athlete breakup shit, but I know people are here looking and they seen the Fred Taylor interview that just dropped, right? So we're dropping.
That was a good interview, by the way.
Shout out.
I keep telling you that Joe Rogan, you the black. I don't even want to say black Joe Rogan because I feel like I put you in a box. Not months ago, damn, it's about over a year ago when I really start tapping in with you. The reason why was because of how you communicate.
Right.
There's an art and science to communication.
People don't know that.
And how you get into a question. Even like what you just did. He just keeping y'all coming in. I'm gonna get to that breakup.
Yeah,
I'm gonna get to that. Right. You stay right here. I know what you want.
Right. And that's science.
But so no, I watched it, and you know what I'm saying, bro? I think you're doing an amazing job, and that's why I'm here, because I want to be a part of that journey. You know what I'm saying? I want when you get that $500 million contract, I want to be able to be like, man, I was part of the process. I seen him building this by himself on the road, a one-man band.
Important.
So, yeah.
And I think that, you know, first of all, thank you for that, bro. Like I was just telling him, man, it's so interesting to move through this game and be received that way, because it's unanimous. It's almost, and that's why you hear me now, like, cause you somebody I talk to outside of this fame shit that we running into, right? I try to holler at you on some, like, hold up, throw that out the window. What is this about? You know, and so as I'm being received, it almost feels fake. Not from you, because you were early and we build, but it almost feels like from the outside, everybody's unanimously saying, no, you're doing something different. You're doing something different. And I've never been in that situation. You know, coming from the street, coming from like very humble beginnings, no one's ever really been looking at me saying, no, bro, that's super important. I've always felt what I was doing important for my family, my children, my mother, right? What I'm doing, holding them up. So it's important to me. But to start getting it from the outside is like,
yeah,
whoa.
That's right.
You know what I'm saying?
Because it's reach. It's, you know, you reach people that, you know, we can't. You know what I'm saying? Your language is different than my language.
Right.
You understand? So there's a whole audience that watch you and follow you just because of who you are, where you come from, your experiences, and your language.
So
the language.
So important.
Right. There ain't too many, I can't say that. But for you to have this type of platform, right, and went through the experiences that you've gone through, and be able to articulate yourself the way you do, where you spit in game and you're keeping it real, but you still authentic. That's a big deal. That's hard to do. I don't think you understand that.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Ain't too many people being able to be in this room and be in that room and still be themselves.
Right. And I do think that's a journey that I'm on, and you do that as well. I want to dive into your NFL career a little bit, because with you, you know, getting prepared or just driving over here, I was listening to the Drink Champs when y'all first went on Drink Champs. And every time you speak about when you went pro or went to the NFL, I feel something. I feel like it meant a lot for you.
Yeah.
I feel like you carried it in a way where only us from the ghetto can understand.
Yeah.
Even some people outside of that would say, he's too serious about it. Like he's putting too much on this. But we say, no.
Yeah.
This is everything.
That's everything.
And I've always felt like, I mean, this ain't something I hear. I feel this when you talk about it. How important was it for you to go pro?
Yeah. So, hell, bro, like a couple months before draft night, my mom, you know, there was 8 people in a 2-bedroom motel in Atlanta off of Wesley Chapel.
Man.
Okay? 8 people.
Man.
So when you talk about carrying something that's bigger than just like the sport or just the fun of it or the money of it, it was personal. You know what I mean? I think that's why I made a lot of mistakes, because there was so much emotion in my money.
Yes.
Right? It was so personal, and I didn't approach it from a business standpoint. Now, I had a phenomenal career, legendary career, but when I look back on it, I played with so much passion and so much rage and even anger at times, bro, because the thing that used to drive me 5 a.m. was, yo, my sister just had a kid at 15. You know, now nephew, he a senior. Now he about to go off and do his thing.
Shout
you know, but I'm changing his diaper on campus.
The support system.
The only.
Yeah.
The only from a financial standpoint. Now, you know,
right, for sure.
My people poured in.
Right.
But
we gonna pour in. We got to pour in,
right.
part.
Yeah, that's right.
It's the other part they block us out
That's
of.
right. That's right. So yeah, man, you know, Pops was a legend in the streets. You know, and that well went dry. So, you know, and he changed his life. So then everything kind of shifted on me. And then when that happened, like, you know, I took that as my number one priority, my number one responsibility.
Sure.
You know, and that's a lot of weight. And that's a problem with a lot of us too, because I love mental health as well.
Right, for sure.
But you know, I feel like a lot of us struggle with this. First generation millionaires, the first ones out to make it. You got survivor's remorse. You know, Wale was on our show, I Am Athlete, and he talked about our money flows the wrong way in our community.
Yes, dips out, yes.
Money is supposed to flow down.
Yes.
But our money flow up. So what is that doing to us? Like what you said, your money's flowing up to your mom.
Right.
To this person, that person.
Yes.
When your money should be going down to your kids,
Ooh,
your kids'
that's good
kids.
game. Boy, that's good game.
You understand? So there's a lot of weight on us, bro.
That's good game. If they don't soak that up, my name ain't what it is. That's super good game right there, right? Your money should flow down, not up. What happens is we find ourselves in like a savior position, you know, like a lifeguard position, right? The family's drowning. And now we just received us one of those, you know, and we got to throw it in there to help people who introduced us to the world.
Yeah, right.
That's a hell of a thing.
Yeah. And where we come from, it ain't just, and you know this, it ain't just your mom. It ain't just your brother and sister. It's your neighbor that you've been next to for 15, 20 years.
Like family.
They family.
Yeah.
Go next door. We out of sugar.
Yeah.
Oh, go to Miss Betty's house.
They looked out.
What?
They looked out, for sure.
Your mom ain't home yet, baby. Come over here. Come get a plate.
Yes. You hungry?
So what happens when Miss Betty, she fall on hard times?
I'm saying you a savior to the hood.
Right.
Man.
And then you got the people that ain't in that little tribe where we come from. But they watched you. They been there.
Yeah.
And this is where the really get sticky and the problem come in.
Yeah.
Oh, but I know you. You know, and a lot of people don't know how to navigate through that. Like how to say no. No is a complete sentence.
A hell of a complete sentence.
And no is okay.
Yes.
No.
Yes. And it's important that we know no is okay, but we come from wanting to save our people. That's another problem. It's like we have some weird complex going on where we want to be the biggest. Sometimes we'll overextend just to remain the biggest. You know, so y'all keep looking at me like this, I'm gonna overextend. You know, like and I can even ask you this, right? And I'll get into this a little bit. I asked Fred Taylor yesterday, when they left your show, were they intentionally trying to tank I Am Athlete? Do you believe with the departure in that way? Because again, you found yourself in a situation where you had to overextend.
Right.
Here are two guys that we've built this thing in this way, and all of a sudden they're gone. To alleviate that pressure or just to maintain in the audience eyesight, I feel like that you were scrambling. Right? Did you find yourself overextending at that time? One. And two, do you think that they were trying to tank the show with the departure?
The way it happened, I do believe, you know, well, I know, yeah, it is what it is, but it's okay.
Yeah.
And still to this day, right? Like I walk into, you know, some type of network, I'm sitting down with some type of brand. Oh, no, they just said an athlete, somebody, oh, well, you need to do this first, or nah, let me tell you. So, you know, that's the reality.
Right.
And that's what make it hard is that, you know, all right, it is what it is. And good luck. Y'all doing a phenomenal job. You know, let me figure out what I'm going to do here, how I'm going to pick up the pieces. You know, but so it's like, you know, still to this day.
Yeah.
You understand? So
now,
like, I would never move like that.
Okay.
I would never move like that.
Okay.
So your question, do I think it was intentional? Yes. But it's okay.
Yes.
Two, you asked about, did I overextend?
Yes.
Absolutely. And that was the biggest lesson. And when I was driving in here, I was like, I'm only having this conversation because of you.
Right.
This doesn't do me any good.
Exactly.
I'm done with this.
Yes.
But I'm doing this because of you.
Right.
You understand? Because I know what you gonna be.
Yes.
And I know this is a big part of the conversation. And you can't, there's no way you can sit down with me
and don't have this
and not ask me this question. No way.
Right.
Okay? So usually when I'm sitting down with somebody, if I know can come up, I won't do the interview.
Right.
Because it's a waste of time. Why am I still why am I focused on the past? Like, there's too much happening right now today.
100%.
You understand? So, but the thing I thought about driving in was like, man, what can I say? That someone can take from this. You gotta compete against only you. Because when you start overextending, you make mistakes.
And you get injured.
You make mistakes. Bro, I made 3 major mistakes.
Okay, let's talk.
When they left,
right,
and now I'm.
But you were forced into that.
Yes, but what I could have did is, and I had people around me.
I was there.
Yeah, you was there. That's right.
I was there. I told you, calm down.
Right.
You're okay.
Yeah, I'm like, what
you was like,
mean?
yeah, but no, bro, I'm like, I'm telling you, bro, you're you. We rolled to 2 a.m.
Right.
Yeah, but continue. I need you to get that point off.
You?
Yeah. Yeah, for sure.
My therapist? No, you're amazing. You got this. I'm like, but the way, she's like, you're okay. You know what I'm saying?
But I need the fans to know. I need your audience to know that's how much you cared about them.
Oh, yeah, for sure.
This wasn't about B. Marshall.
No.
This was about letting them down because they were watching.
Yeah.
And again, to remain B. Marshall in the eyes of y'all, I need to not fumble this ball because they've planned out something.
It wasn't even fumbling the ball.
Right.
What people don't understand, so they made their move in January. For 6-7 months, you talk about paperwork, was going back and forth. I invested over $200,000 in attorney fees. The people who came in to put these contracts, these offer sheets together first, these contracts together first, the same people that work on Bravo Network. The same teams. Hey, can you consult for me?
$200K.
$200K, bro. You know what it is? $450 an hour.
Yes.
So now I'm doing this with Ocho. That's a different negotiation.
Right.
That's that's his own process.
Yes.
I'm doing this with Channing. I'm doing this with Fred.
All at once.
All at once. It's a lot of work.
Yes.
A lot of work. Back and forth, back and forth, back and forth. Well, this, that, that.
But I think the audience, when they left like that, the audience was on eggshells because they pop up over there with an interview, right? And Chad's on the interview. And Chad, your relationship with Chad is good. You know, we know y'all work with each other and y'all are fine. But he pops up over there because this is not a beef thing. This is, I know them too. This is kind of a, and I tell you, I talked to Fred about a couple things. I'm like, there's shots being took, right? And at first he was like, well, not really. And I like, nah, bro. And we finally got to a point where it's like, yo, there's some competitive spirit there that we don't address, front facing. Right, and because I spoke about what Shady was talking about with the get on the bus, and RC says no need to ride the bus when you're family, and he spoke to that, but he had to admit like, yo, that was kind of like a shot, that's competitive shot type shit.
Whoa, hold on. I go by Loon. All of my interviews with everyone that you love. It's available on patreon.com. It's up there podcast ad-free, as well as the show with just me, where I talk directly to the culture. Plenty more perks. I see you there. Let's get back to the show.
And I'm just wondering, but let's get back to the overextending.
No, but you got to understand that, like, what's my tour called? They'll probably do this 2 tour.
Yes.
Right? A little petty.
Yes.
But the thinking behind that is, it's like, I wanted to go on the road, right? First, because I know others will do it.
Right.
Start doing it, then others start coming.
Right.
Right. So we in Pittsburgh.
Y'all killing it too.
Yeah, we in Pittsburgh, and we literally on the team bus.
Right.
One of the team bus, but this is where the family, the friends, and some of the media is at. Right. This is my first time seeing them in public. They pull up, boom, they hop out, and bro come on the bus. And we sitting there, me, Shady, a few others, like, no need for this.
Right.
Say what he say. You know what I'm saying? So it's like,
do you feel like, because I wouldn't let him ignore the fact that there's a competitive spirit in between athletes who are now in media. Now, how they handle that could be different.
Super competitive.
Yeah.
Super competitive. But I'm not competing no more.
Okay.
Remember, I said, like,
Compete
out
with
of all
yourself.
of this whole breakup conversation, I don't want to have this conversation no more.
100%.
No more, right? But I'm doing it for you in the platform.
Right.
And then also the biggest lesson I learned over the last 10 months. Bro, when I'm going this way, and then I got somebody over here, and I don't know which way they going. I don't know what they building over there. Like, I'm building out a platform. And I've always said that from day one. How do I bring others along?
We're going to get into that.
Develop more shows. I don't know what they doing. They might be doing one show. They may be doing multiple shows. I'm trying to go live.
You're doing a lot.
I'm doing a lot, bro.
Yeah.
I'm doing radio.
Yes.
And so when I start paying attention over here and like, let me do this. Oh, I see that you make big mistakes, and some mistakes you can't bounce back from.
Right.
So the biggest lesson I've learned is like, man, no matter what it feels like, even if somebody did you wrong or you feel like they did you wrong, a breakup happens. Run your race. Yeah. Keep your eyes on your lane.
Yeah.
Because when you do that, you make mistakes. I'm telling you.
Yeah. And you said you made 3 mistakes. Do you want to speak about one of those or a couple of those? Or?
Yeah, one of the mistakes I made was I brought the kid from the Nelk Boys on.
Steve will do it.
He
talked about that.
I brought Steve Will Do It on the show because, I was hurt, right? I was hurt because we talked about built in black. We talked about, uplifting each other. That's what we talked about.
Right.
All the time on our show.
Right.
Behind the scenes, cameras off. That's what we talked about.
Right.
And then you leave and you're doing it. And I do business with everybody.
Right.
But that's not what it is over there.
Right.
And the people that is over there, they with Trump.
That's what I'm saying. They're an extension of the pivot too. So
it's all one.
Right. So when you see a Steve Will Do It act like that, and then you already are in that situation where they've damn near tried to tank what was the best show an athlete has ever put out. And it's almost like you were in this place. Like
you had to figure out what it was. So when they left, because Ocho could have left as well, we sat down and he was like, well, what's next? Right? Let's figure it out. Is it going to be just us two? Are we going to add, another person or another 2 people? What is the vision?
Right.
So let's finish this season and let's figure out what this show is going to be. So we spent the first 6-7 months of this year figuring out. So people are like, well, you got DJ Williams on, you got Shady on, you got Pac-Man on, you got Auntie on, you got all these people on. It's like tryouts.
Right.
Right. So they did their thing and they knew what it was. They already had their plan in place.
Yeah.
Now I'm blindsided. I had to figure that out. And that takes time. And then now you got to get aligned with everybody. Well, Shady, what you got going on? What's your schedule?
Right.
Right. So, the first 6-7 months of this year was figuring out what was next, who was going to sit with us. Right. So it was a lot of work.
Right. Now, what the Steve Will Do It, what would you say you did wrong in that? Was it the approach? Was it the conversation? Was it behind the scenes? I should have pulled his coattail.
No. I definitely feel like that conversation needed to be had. Like, that was the whole point of it.
And
it's
let's
like
address
you playing with culture.
Let's let the audience know, for those that may not know what happened.
Okay, so man, this is months ago, long time ago. But basically, you have what's the kid's name? 6ix9ine, Tekashi 6ix9ine. Tekashi 6ix9ine and Steve Will Do It.
Right.
Do this little skit where they bring in the
fake dirt.
the fake dirt, the dirt
Perkio.
lookalike.
Yeah.
But Perkio, like that's his name, Perkio.
Yeah.
I think everybody was looking at it like, man, it's a cool thing. Like, he came out, he looked like Dirk. He ended up meeting Dirk. His platform taking off.
That's what only made it cool to me, is that Dirk embraced him. Because if
right.
Dirk don't embrace you niggas, like Drake sent a cease and desist to his guy.
Right.
Cut it out.
Yeah, right.
Yeah,
but Dirk embraced them.
That's what made it more like, all right, we see the vision. He put him in a video and everything.
That's right. That's right. So, young kid, innocent, and then you bring in that type of, like, do you understand what's happening?
Yeah. And this is dead people. Let's be clear. We're playing with people who are not only gangsters.
Right.
King Von was a gangster, bro.
That's right.
Not only that, you're dealing with someone that's now resting in peace, that's not here anymore. You take and you grab a lookalike of someone, and in efforts to disrespect a man, you go grab the lookalike.
That's right.
And you put a jacket on them to say R.I.P.
Right.
Set up by people like Steve Wood.
And this is the same dude. If you look at the interview, you got Trump pictures behind him.
That's what I'm saying.
So for me, it's like, you don't play with culture, because this is what all this new media and what your platform is about, my platform is about, is like, man, we finally have our own platform where we can tell our stories the way we want to tell our stories.
Right.
Right. We're at the forefront of this.
Right.
We gatekeepers of the culture.
Right.
You can't do that. But these are the people, like, we connected to. You know what I'm saying? So, like, it was a mistake, because that was not my lane.
But I could have took care of that. I should have been the person to have that conversation. But again, But there was some things being loyal to your audience.
Correct. It was some things behind the scenes where it was like, it was just too disruptive. People like, what you doing?
Yeah.
Like, why?
Yeah.
Like, just stay your lane. Like, I know my lane.
You view the way, right? Despite these little boy talk.
Yeah.
We talking business. I've been in those calls with W Me with you.
Yeah.
I've been on a call with Go Puff with you, right? So I know how you viewed in that realm.
Right.
They can't snatch that from you. The only thing that can put a blemish on that is your voice out of your mouth, something you've done. They can't affect how these people view you, because you're too charming. You're
right.
you got too much with you. Also, and we having conversation. This ain't, I don't do the podcast, question. We bounce around, we just talk. This is more like just a conversation.
That's why you gonna get that 500 mil.
I'm telling you, I ain't playing.
Hey.
I ain't playing with him. I'm telling you, B, we go get it. But I want to go back to be it meaning so much, because we'll get a little more into IAA. And also shout out Pack Shady, the whole squad. Y'all killing it as well. But going pro, with it meaning so much, when I was headed over here looking at some stuff, they said that on draft night, you tell me if this is true or not. They said draft night, you have invited a lot of people over. They got there, you thought you were gonna be drafted. You were not drafted on that day, and you reacted very disappointed. Did that happen?
Yeah. So I went back home, Pittsburgh, and the whole family was there, friends. Everybody talking about auntie, our neighbor, Miss Patty.
Right. Yeah.
But everybody was there, and yeah, man, I didn't get drafted, bro. Like, everything that you carry in those, that we call them mat drills, 5 a.m. workouts, and carrying bags on your back before the sun comes up, 100 yards, beer crawling, 200 yards, throwing up, doing all of that. Like, everything goes into this one day, and then your name don't get called. Like, that's tough. And that's part of the problem. That's why you see a lot of athletes struggle, whether in transition or when they don't make it, is because their identity is made up in the sport. You know what I mean? So, like, I'm looking at this moment like, man, if my name don't get called, who am I? What I got? So me and my brother, man, we went upstairs and, in the bathroom, and we just sat there and cried together.
I felt that in my heart when I read this shit. I said, man, I can only imagine, because again, my brain works funny. So that conversation lends me to how you speak about it's meant way too much, which lended itself to some of my mistakes. I was so personally involved. We got to learn how to observe and not absorb. You see what I'm saying? And sometimes that gets hard. And I want people to also know that the conversation that we do have about I Am Athlete and the breakup and Fred Taylor and Channing and all this isn't messy shit. This is about information. You got young guys like me on the come up that looks at NFL guys like, yo, we know if nothing else, y'all already done ran into some money. So we feel like, how y'all end up in this? We know Joe
because Channing Crowder, he from Atlanta. He grew up just like you grew up, right? Fred Taylor from the Muck. He grew up just the way you grew up. Maybe even in it tougher.
Right.
This is the Muck, this is Belglade.
Right.
Okay. I'm from Pittsburgh, East Liberty, the poorest county in Pennsylvania.
Right.
You know, my dad was him.
Right.
Right? That's in us. But meaning, listen to me, meaning that we come from tribe community. I just talked about Miss Patty.
Exactly.
Right? So what does that mean? Word is bond. Where we come from, how we operate.
For sure.
And if it ain't, it's a problem.
It's a super problem.
We don't sit down. When you sat down, when you like, yo, let's put this on paper?
Right.
You got anything on paper?
Yeah.
You understand? You look me in my eyes.
Exactly. And we went
That's what it is. So that's the problem. Like, content good, but the business ain't.
Right.
Right? Why? Yo, I'm starting this platform. You want to rock with me? Yeah, no, say no problem. Okay, jump in my golf cart. Boom. Yo, you rocking with me? Yeah, I'm going to sell a show. We're going to sell a show. That was the vision from the jump, to sell a show.
And that's important that we stay there for a second.
Yeah.
Because when you create something with that in mind, that's different than creating something with keeping it in mind. So I say that to say the ownership talk in a show that we're gonna sell is already a slippery conversation.
But here's what happens though. You're right. But as I start this conversation with some people on my team, we like this. But Fred, why don't we literally put Reggie Bush? I'm talking to Showtime, Viacom, I'm talking to this investor, that investor.
Right.
We like you. I was the only one really doing television.
Right.
Doing broadcasting.
With
I've been doing it for 8 years.
Yeah.
Fred never did this before. Channing doing radio just in Miami. Well, we believe in you, but we don't believe in them.
That's how it is too.
No, I gave them my word. You hear me?
Yeah,
Loon, you hear me?
Yeah, for sure.
No, we got a deal for you. We got a deal for you, but we want to would you explore Reggie Bush here? I'm not saying Reggie Bush was going to do it or not, but no. I gave Fred Taylor my word.
Got to stand on that.
Yeah. Channing Crowder. I believe in Channing Crowder.
Right.
What I look like going back to them saying, hey, guys, I did a deal, but things change. I'm going to move on. I'm going to cut you a little check right now, but you're not going to be a part of it.
Yeah.
No.
Yeah.
So I took so long to get the first deal because then nobody believe.
And that's so important.
Right? So like, and then when we finally broke through, then Steven Espinoza from Showtime, right? A guy who put me on 8 years ago inside the NFL, first, active athlete doing full-time broadcasting. He stood on the table and said, no, I believe in him. No, this is the guy we want to represent inside the NFL.
Right.
But he like, man, I ain't believe. He said, y'all taught me something. I would never put those type of names together and those guys together.
Yeah. That's deep.
Yeah.
That's deep. With this whole thing, man, I'm learning from y'all going through that. If nothing else, we know that when y'all run into the money, y'all get exposed to a level of structure, business-wise, whether that be you running through all the money and blew it, and then you come back and all you got is information, no money, almost like Antoine Walker, right? Or you go and you save your money, make the right investments, and you end up like Magic Johnson. Mm-hmm. So you got money and information, right? Or you end up like a B. Marshall, right? You transition.
Or you do like a Kanye, where Kanye is in debt 50 million, then he flip it back into $1 billion. And I say that because everybody that you named was conservative.
Right.
Like when you got Antoine Walker over here, that's that story. But then you name Magic Johnson, right? And okay, and the way you explained it was save your money and boom, now you flip it into what Magic Johnson is. No, sometimes you gotta be a trailblazer.
Yeah.
You gotta be an entrepreneur. You
Right.
gotta take chances to get what you want.
But see, on the other side, I would say they are trailblazers, especially like a Magic Johnson. Now, what athlete do we see with that level of business?
Mm-hmm.
So, even to take those risks from that aspect, because most athletes let their money sit in the bank and get that little percentage to safe bet.
That's right. That's right.
You know, so this dude here, hey, invest. Shaq.
Whoa, hold on. I go by Loon. All of my interviews with everyone that you love. It's available on patreon.com. It's up there podcast ad-free, as well as the show with just me, where I talk directly to the culture. Plenty more perks. I see you there. Let's get back to the show.
Right? Or you end up like a B Marshall, right? You transition.
Or you do like a Kanye, where Kanye is in debt 50 million, then he flip it back into $1 billion. And I say that because everybody that you named was conservative.
Right.
Like when you got Antoine Walker over here, that's that story. But then you name Magic Johnson, right? And okay, and the way you explained it was save your money and boom, now you flip it into what Magic Johnson is. No, sometimes you gotta be a trailblazer.
Yeah.
You gotta be an entrepreneur. You
Right.
gotta take chances to get what you want.
But see, on the other side, I would say they are trailblazers, especially like a Magic Johnson. Now, what athlete do we see with that level of business?
Mm-hmm.
So, even to take those risks from that aspect, because most athletes let their money sit in the bank and get that little percentage to safe bet.
That's right. That's right.
You know, so this dude here, hey, invest. Shaq. You know, invest, JV there, JV here, right? And so we think that with money, and this could be naive as us coming from the street, but we think with money, with going pro with the NFL or NBA, there's a level of business you're exposed to or structure that should not lend itself to four athletes not being able to get the business together.
Right. That's good. Now we getting somewhere. We peeling back the layers. Magic Johnson played, there was another 13, 14 guys on his team.
Right.
If you go watch the Magic Johnson interview with Shannon Sharp on Club Shay Shay, he talked about this. He said, when they wanted to go out and they wanted to go do this and that, I was going to hang out with Mr. Bus, the billionaire.
Yeah.
Right? So that's the difference. You might be in that world, but you might not be in that world, meaning that when you walk in to the Giants or the Jets or the Yankees or the Lakers facility, you know, a lot of times we stay in the locker room. A lot of times we just on the field or on the court. When you go up to the management office and sit there and ask, hey, can I shadow you? That's what Magic was doing. That's how Magic got there.
That's the difference.
Right.
Yes.
Even LeBron, y'all think the moves LeBron and Mav and all those guys and Rich Paul making, you think they just did it? Like, yeah, they used this leverage, his platform, his game, his name to get in the room, but they taking notes.
Yes. And it's about decision.
Right. So not every athlete's doing that. And that's what made it hard. That's what made it hard for me at times because, you know, I do have some information. I am one of those guys. And so, like, how do you work with other people in different spaces, right? Because I might come in, I'm like, yo, we're gonna put this JV together. I want to put this SPV. You know, now you can go these athletes here can invest $50,000 to $1 million, but it's easier because now we don't have as many people on the cap table. So on the back end, our team can control it easier. So if I start speaking like that to you, you're gonna be like, what are you you taking advantage of me?
Yeah.
No, bro, it's in the book.
Yes. And this is what I honestly, after speaking with Fred Taylor yesterday, I'm almost like, all right, there's a disconnect, right? It seems like, based on how I feel in the conversation, it seems like that they're worried about a podcast and then you're worried about a platform.
Yeah.
Both start with P, but it's totally different. They're worrying about a podcast. You're worrying about a platform, which, in my opinion, the platform space would be more than one show. It'll be like an umbrella of just shit happening, right? Well, we can have maybe a deal with Amazon. Got some over here with this, but they were interested in the show. I think your expertise, because he also mentioned the fact that you probably read a lot of entrepreneur books and you got this entrepreneur.
I went to Harvard,
spirit.
bro. In 2014,
See,
in 2014, I'm not saying this. I don't want nobody to take this away. Take what
It's
I'm about
language,
to say,
bro. It's just
and think that think I'm better than anybody or not. I'm not. Like, I know that I think the number one thing that I hold is that I know what I don't know. And then I know how to go get the information. You know how to get the information? Google.
Yeah.
YouTube.
Ask. Yeah.
Sit in the room. He's doing this. She's doing this.
Yes.
Hey, can I shadow you?
Yes.
Right? So 2014, bruh, everything I'm doing now, I spent 3 months at Harvard building out a case study.
See, that's the part I don't think they get.
And then went back to the BIMS program.
Yeah, nah, they don't get that.
Business, entertainment, media, sports, Professor Nita El-Bursay. So yeah, books is a part of it too, but there's so much more to it. Bringing in consultants. Everything I'm doing, the only thing that's different about this case study, or I would say maybe even off track, is because what came out of this case study was content and commerce. I've been doing this.
Yes.
The content side, I thought I was going to be on ESPN. I thought I was going to be on FS1.
Right.
I thought I may be the next Michael Strahan.
Right.
But then, boom, YouTube is here.
Right.
TikTok is here. Instagram here. I can get more reach than all those other shows by doing what we doing.
Yes.
Your show probably has more reach than any of these other shows on TV.
Right.
90% of them.
Right.
You everywhere. You're on YouTube, you're on TikTok, you're on Instagram, and some of the people that might not even be liking, they still see it.
Exactly.
So when you walk in the airport, like, I know you. I know that 7.
Yes.
Oh, yeah, but do you follow me? No, I don't follow you, but I know you.
Yes. I
It's
get
reach.
a lot of that too. Yeah,
Reach.
yeah, that's for sure. That's good game. And so Michael Strahan then put some good game down. But I think when you talk, right, because they need to understand, not them, because again, this is about information to the culture.
That's right.
Like, this whole shit is information based. How do we build a business? How do we not? Because for me to get my 500 million, I can't have a hiccup.
Right.
I can't have a contract dispute. I can't have a partner that we get into it and
Yes, you can. Yes, you can. That's startup. That's like what you were saying. He said, oh, reading books. Read the books on startup. You think Steve Jobs was out at Apple, then came back. He went to Pixar, then came back and ran Apple.
I didn't know that.
That's the problem. We look at each other. We hold each other to a higher standard that they not holding them. They not holding themselves
Well,
to.
see, what I think I'm looking at is y'all, right? So I'm looking at you, especially Button, because in my opinion, Button had the 100 million in his hand, and ignoring this and this happened, and it falls through, And so, in my opinion, even though he saved himself, Joe Budden made a hell of a move. He saved himself with that Patreon move, because had Patreon not that, if he hadn't took his audience and transferred his audience prior to those guys leaving, it would have looked totally different, depending on the YouTube money. What happened was he took thousands of customers from YouTube while the gang was still together, transferred them behind the paywall.
Who put the gang together?
Joe, this is a question I asked Fred Taylor, and I'm gonna ask you the same question. What is it worth for B. Marshall to had got on his golf cart, drove over here, and created what this is that we call I Am Athlete? Now, I know we all sit down and talk. I know we think like, hey, we just sit. What is that worth to you? Because the initiation process is so important, right? Because everybody can sit around and talk. Everybody, we can do a show now. It'll be easy to do now. That's something we can do.
6 hours a month, so we shoot twice a month.
Exactly.
We do 2 shows every 2 weeks, and it takes about an hour and a half per show. So now you're looking at 6. Your contribution.
Yeah, that's
6,
not.
But it's big. It's
big on on-screen value. But it has on-screen value.
But that's the commitment.
Right. So
twice a month.
What do you feel like, percentage-wise, the creator of the idea, the IP, what does he get out of that?
Yeah.
What do you think is fair?
I mean, what I offer, I thought was more than fair. And it was really, initially.
Yes.
When we all
and
sat
we're going to
down,
speak about the initial investment phase.
it was, look, if you put in, whatever you put in, you get out. I thought season 2 was going to be $125,000 investment.
Right.
Right? Because I thought season 2, right? I thought after season 2 we'll have a bigger deal, and then we'll sit down because now you got, a network coming in, you got a linear deal or maybe an audio deal, and so now we got to look at how it shapes out, because not everybody gets paid the same. Stephen A gets paid more than Molly. Molly gets paid more than this person on the show.
This is such a good conversation. Access to your value.
So you can't say, 3 years from now, if we go do a deal with Showtime, everybody gets paid the same. No, Ocho should get paid more than everybody.
Yeah.
Why? Because his social currency is better than everybody's.
Yes.
Right?
Yes.
And then it'll probably be me, then it'll probably be Channing, and then it'll probably be Fred, then it'll probably be Chef Nancy, right? So like you gotta understand, what that value is.
Yes.
So the goal was, boom, season 2. If you put in, your percentage, it was basically we can all rev share equally.
Okay.
Right? If you put in equally.
Right.
Right? They passed. And let me be clear here, because I love speaking facts and truth. Right? Channing looked at it. There was 2 offers. You can be paid per show episode. You can take a per show episode fee, all coming out of my account, right? Or you can invest and wait for the back end.
Right.
Channing passed, Reg passed. Fred said, I believe in ownership. I want to invest, but didn't invest. Like, it took him 7-8 months once we broke through to come and say, oh, can we have that conversation?
And that's where it got slippery, because I even asked, if it flopped, would you took B. Marshall $1 million? You think he would have brought you $1 million if it flopped?
I mean, that's when things went left. I asked him that question too. Yeah. I said, because I said, you know what, keep the money, because now my investment went from like 125,000 or something, or the projected budget was like 125,000 to shoot season 2, but then it ended up being like 500,000-600,000. Because now you got to think about, we start doing NASCAR, who's paying for the flights, who's paying for, when we go to dinner, who's paying for the production, who's paying for everything, right?
Right.
We started doing other things. We did things live. We were doing so much, so the investment
grew.
And so I said, well, it doesn't make sense for you to put in 25,000 and get 25%. That doesn't make much sense.
Nah.
And then, we start talking about sweat equity and all these other things. And I asked him that question. I said, if we didn't break through and it flopped, would you be coming in my office saying, yo, bro, here go 100, here go 200,000, go 300,000?
Yeah. And I asked him that, and he said, B, no, my face is clean. Everybody know my face is clean. Like, I would have done that. But I stayed there. Why didn't you clarify and make sure you did the initial investment? I even brought up the meeting that he missed. I said, yo, bro, they said they had a meeting and you missed the meeting. He said that he did miss the meeting, but we could have met again. And he spoke to someone, I think that was your lawyer, that he said was a dog, like was on top of shit. So it was like, I don't know. And so he said that when y'all finally had the conversation, that you offered him 4%. You want to clarify what that means, what that says, 4% of what, or what was he saying with that?
So where we're sitting right now is House of Athlete. This is my baby. This is my passion.
Yes.
Health,
from
wellness,
day one, though.
From day one.
And also, let me clarify this before you go, because Fred on the show, and I didn't watch the Drink Champs interview before I spoke with Fred, so I didn't see this. But on the show, Fred was saying that he didn't really appreciate the integration with HOA. Mm-hmm. Right? I even asked him, did the gym hurt? Did the gym make him feel away? Right? And they didn't understand that integration.
If I already built, like, remember, I go back to 2014.
That's what I'm saying. This been your thing.
If this been my thing and I invite you in,
now,
how you going to tell me?
Here's the thing, though. I want to clarify because I didn't say this to Fred, and I don't want it to come off as like I'm saying it now. So I want to clarify why I'm saying this. I watched the Drink Champs interview, and Channing Crowder and Fred Taylor acknowledged time after time House of Athlete. House of Athlete was not a surprise. If I'm going by that video, there wasn't a surprise about HOA.
Right.
My thing is, with it being integrated, what happened? But I want you to get back to the 4%, but I wanted to clarify that they knew, in my opinion, about HOA. I think that's what some of the fans believe.
So you also got to understand, man, like, you know, when the pandemic hit, as a bit, like, a lot of people lost everything. They lost their entire businesses. They lost families. People lost, you know, their people.
Yes.
You know, people, you know, back just by COVID, but also by suicide.
Yes.
You understand?
Yes.
Because
it was tough times.
Tough times.
Yes.
So I think about being a business owner during that time. You know, I got 60 employees. I'm up every night. I'm the one that got to like watch what CDC's putting out.
Maybe that's why he didn't invest.
Yeah, but I'm taking it back a couple years though. You know, so like you got to understand where I was at. Okay.
Right.
I'm literally up at my dining room table with a bottle of Douce, thinking about like, damn, okay, well, how many people can we get in the building? What we can do, this and that, boom, boom, boom. So my pivot was I Am Athlete.
From HOA to even
when I talked to him.
Makes sense.
I had just invested $50,000 in equipment. I had a social media team that was on payroll, right? I got a facility that's a studio potentially because we couldn't even use it no more for the wellness
you couldn't
stuff.
be beside each other.
It was shut down.
Social distance. Yes.
And then I'm seeing Fred running. I'm seeing Channing. Channing comes over to the crib. I'm seeing all these legends. I'm like, damn. I'm watching ESPN. I'm like, man, our production could be better than that.
They can't tell me that ain't worth nothing.
Right. So that was the pivot.
Right.
Right. So then we go down the path. All right. So I'm gonna get to the 4%.
Right.
So we go down the path. I'm like, all right, what is all of this? You know, this is working. I then took this business, this one little location, from 12,000 recurring monthly to 150 in 4 months. Now I'm shut down. The pandemic hit. I was about to open up number 2, number 3, number 4. I was in New York. I was in Houston.
I seen the plans.
I was everywhere.
Yeah, I seen them.
Then the pandemic hit. So now I'm sitting here like, all right, I got to put that on hold, but I still got 60, 70 employees. How do I not lay them off? Still to this day, no one was laid off due to COVID, no nothing.
And I think
I was investing $150,000 every 2 weeks.
On payroll.
Still to this day with our boy Wilder say, till to this day. That boy, bro, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah,
I believe in the vision.
Yeah, for sure.
Because like I'm saying, I'm like, not conservative.
Right.
I'm willing to put everything on the line.
Yeah, let's get it.
Right.
Yeah,
you talking about what? You mean to tell me $300,000 a month could potentially in 3-5 years bring in this 30, 50 million a year?
Annual. Yeah, let's do it.
Potentially be sitting on $1 billion valuation in 5 years? I'm willing to take that chance. I traveled the world.
Right.
I got everything. This shit don't mean nothing to me.
Yeah.
Whoa, hold on. I go by Loon. All of my interviews with everyone that you love. It's available on patreon.com. It's up there podcast ad-free, as well as the show with just me, where I talk directly to the culture. Plenty more perks. I see you there. Let's get back to the show.
Yeah.
Remember where I said I started?
Yeah.
Draft day.
Yes.
My mom and them was sleeping on Wesley Chapel, the Motel 6, bro.
Everything extra at this point, baby.
I'm used to that.
Yeah.
Ain't nothing. I'm educated. I went to college. My dad wasn't.
Right.
My brothers and sisters, my cousins and my neighbors.
Yeah.
I come from that.
Yeah.
I operate better in this.
Yeah. That's me.
You
Turn
understand?
the lights off.
So I'm saying all that because if I lose it all, I'm okay.
Yeah.
I didn't have it all.
Yeah.
But also my hedge was I can still go back to ESPN or FS1 and go make a couple $1 million.
Easily. Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
So, boom. I'm trying to figure out what all this is. I take $300,000. I invest in business planning. What's my 5-year roadmap?
Do you understand this?
I brought in Boston Consulting Group, the number 2 consult, and that was a discount.
This is money you can't see though.
No.
This is investing into what you
Bro,
are
I
creating.
didn't invest $300,000 for paperwork. Give me a business plan. This is crazy. What is all of this? How I go from $11,950 a month to now $150,000 a month in this one location. Then I got this happening. I'm not monetizing this. I still haven't made any money off I Am Athlete. Everybody else eating. I'm paying everybody else. I ain't make no money. It's what we say. I called my brother, right? Because I'm trying to understand like how to really grow. You know what I'm saying? A lot of this is new to me. We both grew up together. I went to college. He went to the streets. He went to prison. He's out now. Smalls, my brother, love you. I said, bro,
shout out, homie.
How did you grow your empire? You know, sometimes the street dudes is the street dudes is smarter than
I'm
the
coming
corporate
for the
dudes.
500.
Facts.
Yeah.
He said, bro, all money in, no money out.
Nipsey, R.I.P.
There you go. That's what it was. So that's why I get to that. But $300,000. Okay, just to get a business plan, my 5-year roadmap.
But even
and this is what they're doing now.
Yeah.
You got when I sit down and I'm like, yo, I want to raise $30 million on a X amount valuation. This is how much of the company I'm giving up, so you can scale and grow.
Right.
Like you got to have everything in order.
You don't luck up and do
200 pages.
Yeah.
They're studying. I studied Joe. I call you Joe Rogan. I know his numbers.
Me too.
Okay,
Yeah.
It's in a case.
Yes.
Okay, I'm studying the Ringer.
Yes.
We're studying all these people that did deals before because now you know what benchmarks you're supposed to hit.
Exactly.
So $300,000 to the number 2 consulting firm in the world to help me build up my 5-year roadmap. Now, what came out of that roadmap was this. Hey, Brandon, you invested to date almost $11 million. That's House of Athlete and I Am Athlete, right? So pre-money valuation off of where you're at today, you're sitting at $240 million. So right now, if I want to go out to the market and sell it, $240 million.
Okay.
Because it's built off of 5 years.
Right.
Right? Then different multiples, right? So like if it's a software, if it's a tech company, if it's brick and mortar, if it's retail, if it's media, it's different multiples. Right. You could be working off of 3X, you could be working off of 5X, 7X, 10X, et cetera, depending on the industry.
See, that's the language.
There you
Podcast niggas don't know language.
So boom. Here's the valuation, all right? And here's the game plan. So now what they're saying in this is like, if you hit these goals over the next 5 years, you're sitting on a $949 million valuation.
That's a big B.
Okay.
Close to it.
All right. And guess what? 60% of that was made up of House of Athlete, not I Am Athlete or media.
Right.
That's just
because that's recurring.
That's just a podcast.
I need the fans to understand. That's what I'm saying. I need the fans to understand the business model.
Let me throw it to you because I want to answer your question. So that 4% is when I'm sitting down saying, no, bro, like that little 80,000, like I get paid when I go speak. You see me doing anything, I'm getting paid 50 to 100,000 for an hour.
Yeah, mental health shit.
Right. So like like 50,000.
And I was on the call, so I know that ain't kept.
Right. So like. Like this 25,000, 50,000 is nothing. So like, keep your money. Let's keep our face clean.
Yeah.
Look, I'll give you 4%, and then your sweat equity matters. Like all of us, if it wasn't for all of us, yeah, I Am Athlete wouldn't have popped the way it did. But there's so much more to it, and off the strength of all of that, like I'm gonna give you 4% of $1 billion company.
That's what I think.
And also you gonna have your base, so you're still gonna make your money. You're still gonna make your money. So the money was, look, rev share. So here's the base. Everybody get paid this, and then everybody basically comes down to like 25% rev share, net profit. Right. So now everybody eating.
Right.
Simple.
And see, I think the conversation is, and when I was talking to him, was like,
well, I love you, boy, because you got me really talking, boy.
Nah, that's how we do.
I tell you, I'm done. After this, I ain't talking about no more.
It's cool. It's information, bro. Look, I'm telling you, it's young creators. My whole fan base. Everybody is information based. They know this ain't, you see how we peeling it back? Yeah. Magic Johnson, when he got a bid, you did it. That's what this is for. Like, the young creator sitting on the other side. I'm telling you, because I was him. I was him watching. So I know it's a young creator on the other side. Like, Okay, that makes sense. Okay. And we pouring into them with this.
Right.
Our mistakes is pouring into them to help the market.
That's right.
You see what I'm saying? But I think the 4% conversation, when I spoke to him, I don't think he understood that 4% of $1 billion situation that we're headed into. Mm-hmm. So not 4% of the podcast. Mm-hmm. The podcast ain't $1 billion evaluation, and I think fame confused.
But then also the money too, though. The base was still there,
right?
Like I'm gonna throw. I don't want to put out nobody's business, but I just throw out like just numbers so you understand. So let's take like a Channing Crowder, for example. So Channing Crowder, he was the only one.
He said you offered Channing $300,000. He did say that on my show. He said, I hope Channing don't get mad, but Pete offered him $300,000.
Yes. So he said it.
So you were talking about the 4%.
Listen, all I would say is this, is that, look, before any deals came in, all right, everything was, I was the only investor. I'm still the sole investor.
Right.
Okay. In year one, Channing made more money with I Am Athlete than he did doing what he was doing the last 10 years.
That's important.
Year two, with the SiriusXM deal, I looked at Channing as like the face of that. And I said, bro, like if we hit our benchmarks and you do what I know you can do easily,
right,
you'll be making $1 million a year. And the question was, if you're paying me this, then how much are you making?
And I want to, before you leave, because I know you got some, we got to talk about that. Mm-hmm. Because I need people to know, and we got a lot to do. We're going to have to do another one. I know you got to go because I got so much game we can get into. But Channing Crowder spoke about this, and I did mention this on the other episode, about he wants to know how much you're making and in efforts to get access to his value. Mm-hmm. In my opinion, that's a very slippery approach. You don't, as a wide receiver, you don't go to the NFL team and say, what are you bringing in based on what I'm getting paid. The way that the formula that you have to come up with to access your value has never been go to the company and see how much they make. Mm-hmm. It's always the market.
Yeah. So
you need to, as a creative, understand the market to understand your value. So not what you're making from your deal. In my opinion, it should be, what is the top podcasters being paid? Or what are people doing this job being paid? What are the wide receivers?
But then also remember that valuation that I talked about.
Right.
The recommendation was to hit this $1 billion.
You got to hit the benchmarks.
You got to hit the benchmarks, but you should go raise $30 million, $30 to $40 million. They gave me a range be willing to give up 13% of your company. Okay. So we all play ball. We're all millionaires.
Right.
Hey guys, here's BCG, number 2 consulting firm in the world. They spent 3 months with me. We did a deep dive into what this is. They helped us put the language behind it, put a 5-year roadmap in place. All right, everybody can invest. It could be 50,000. It could be 50 million. Whatever it is that you want to invest in, right? So that's another option. That's business. It's just practice. It's simple. You know, simple business.
Yes.
So, but look, man.
I think I want to talk about partnership versus ownership, right? A lot of the deals, even in podcasting now, I think they understand that most people who are creative of the IP oftentimes want to retain creative control and also ownership. Mm-hmm. And so to get around that, you put people in a position to participate as a partner, but not own anything from an ownership perspective. Do you think that they understood partnership versus ownership, and also was that clear?
If you have equity in a company, okay, you're an owner.
Right, ownership.
You're an owner. You're an owner. Yes. So like, look, I don't know what they know or what they don't know. I know, I can speak for myself. You know, a lot of the work and one of the hardest things about my transition going from playing to building a company full time is gathering the information, learning. I spend a lot of time on YouTube. I spend a lot of time on Google. Yes, I've been to Harvard. Yes, I'm a part of some of those executive programs still to this day. But, you know, I'm getting information everywhere. Okay, so I bust my ass to learn.
Right.
You know what I mean? And that's
And
the biggest.
study and shit.
And everybody need to do that.
Yeah.
You know, those books, read those books, shadow, get a mentor. All of that stuff is important.
Yeah.
If you want to evolve and grow, right?
Yeah.
So I can't speak on what they know, what they don't know. But what I know is, like, I feel confident in what I'm doing. I feel confident that, I have not even confident. I'm doing it with integrity. I'm doing it in a fair way. Now I come from the world where it's like what you put in, you get out.
For sure.
Right? I'm not just going to give you anything.
Nah, we don't do that.
Right? But it's going to be fair.
Yeah.
And I understand that. And I also have checks and balances. So I'm reaching out to people. Yo, what do you think about this? Is this right? Is this the right way? You did it before. Right. Just how me and you talk. I'm talking to Joe. Right. I'm talking to Nori. Right? So, like, there's other people, all the smoke, Matt Barnes. Sit down with everybody.
Right.
How did you structure this? What are you thinking here?
Right.
Kevin Hart, will you mentor me?
Right. Do you think that, because I asked him this, and he couldn't take it from you. I said, B. Marshall was a dog on that field. He like, I can't take that from him. He was a dog. Do you think Freddie T was a dog on the field?
Oh, Fred T, absolutely. One of the best to ever do it, and also, like one of the best OGs. You understand? Like,
he talked about y'all having a long-standing relationship. Like, I asked him, in 10 years, will we see IAA and Pivot doing something together? Do you think so?
Yeah, I mean, you can never say no.
Same thing he said. That's wild.
Yeah, you had Jay-Z and Nas come back together and do some business.
Yeah.
So
I think you guys.
10 years. I mean, it'd be cool to see them up under the IAA platform, and you could acquire. I can't. What's the valuation? What's the numbers?
Yeah, business.
How much? Which I want to make. Yo, show me the 5-year roadmap.
Yeah,
What's the vision of the pivot?
Man, this dude crazy, man. Hey.
But for real though, like they can have a smooth exit.
Yeah, for sure.
It makes sense. Bring it here. You know what I'm saying? Numbers go crazy.
Yeah, for sure. Hey, that was crazy, man. Hey, you're so fucked up. You're funny.
Not in 10. Let's do it in 2.
Yeah, let's do it soon.
Let's do it in 2. What's the number?
Yeah. Let me ask you this.
I messed you up with that one.
Yeah, that fucked me up.
That's the show.
Yeah. That's the show. That's the show. Podcast, B. Marshall, you know the vibration. High on this side. Grab that information, do something with it. Let's get it.
What's going on? It's your boy Big Loon. Right now, if you looked at this clip and you enjoyed it, hit subscribe. Watch the next video. We on the road to 100K subscribers on YouTube. If you're a fan, come to Patreon. We got exclusive videos there, and also the show with just me alone. Salute to the supporters. Verify your customers and know who's your viewers. It's Up There Podcast. Let's get it. Yo, what up? This Big Loon. This is It's Up There Podcast.